My name is Shrikant Sharma. I'm the CEO of SmartViz. So digital twins come in all shapes and sizes, and you use them for different purposes. The reason why SmartViz was created was to address a fundamental challenge with buildings, and that is that buildings are inefficient. Now, we all know that buildings are responsible for something like 40% of world's CO2 emission. But they are also using 3.5 times more energy than they're designed for. This is the Innovate UK research. Buildings are also utilized very inefficiently, especially now post-COVID in hybrid working. There's something like 60% empty desks in office, and they're still heated, cooled, and managed. The biggest challenge with buildings is that relationship between the environment and the people, the human experience. We know that lighting, temperature, humidity, CO2 has a massive impact on people's productivity, but as much as 61%, and yet that connection is not really properly captured, properly optimized. One challenge behind all this is that really there's a limited understanding on how people use buildings. And my own research, 20 odd years, really looking at that interaction between people and buildings and using data analytics and sensors to be able to predictively model, simulate, and optimize the buildings has been quite helpful. And yet there is much bigger problem out there. And fortunately, now with these billions of IoT devices that are making all of that information, that gap in the understanding really narrowing down. There are sensors that can look like this, pretty much peel and stake, cost you a couple of tens of dollars. You can turn a non-smart building into a smart building in a matter of hours, if not minutes. These are battery powered. They don't rely on BMS IT network. Start to capture data anonymously, and they'll stream it through the cloud. So really making it all that much more accessible now. Then you've got the real challenge, which is tons of data. There's already a lot of BMS systems and space management systems, and these sensors, like what do I do with all that data? How do I turn that into outcomes through insights? That is really the challenge that SmartViz looks to address. So imagine you've got those sensors or the data from the BMS systems connected to a platform like this. The idea is you see that building on a map and you start to stream that, see all the streaming data here on that platform live. You can see the live information on occupancy, environment. You can also do a historic mode and really start to find areas that are either too empty or too hot or too cold. So it's just a very quick demo, so to speak. The idea is that you're making all of that information accessible to a non-technical audience, as well as technical audience, even the end user. And you can go from that map view to the 3D digital twin of that building, where you can click on every space. You can look at the live and historic, and you can also start to do predictive modeling, do occupancy analytics, space analytics, energy predictive modeling, and start to see where you're leaking energy, leaking potentially productivity with not the right CO2, not the right temperature, and you can start to also scenario plan with this human behavior modeling engine inside to see what a typical day in life would be and what happens if you close a floor down or you actually change the layouts and you start to really change the environment or change temperature. I'm going to kind of stop the demo here, but hopefully you get the idea. It's really a platform or the approach where we're saying there is a lot of data out there. What would it take to bring that together into a single source of truth with a digital twin that is intelligent, it's interactive, it's intuitive, and you start to do scenario planning. So the example you see here is really of a digital twin for a school that we built on top of Bentley iTwin. And you can see where our approach is to really become that thin cognitive layer on top of the digital twins. We got very strong partnership with Bentley. We also got strong partnership with Microsoft with their cloud platform, and now with Aside, who've got a powerful common data environment platform. Ultimately, this is all about the returns, the outcomes, and we see that with data analytics and digital twin, you can get really that almost 10 times plus ROI within a matter of months, because there's a lot of areas you can optimize. So there's people side, comfort level, CO2 temperature. You can start to see immediately how, when they're going to be exceeding or too low range. Space utilization, you can benchmark and really start to see what that percentage is, different time, different space. But also we've got 10 million plus data points now, which allows us to really position every space and every building into where they are within what the ideal is, but also what the normal and the average with every other building is. So what? Ultimately, again, it needs to result into some real returns for the customers, and there are several examples. We've been using SmartViz with Vodafone, 40 million plus annual saving across their portfolio of estates. Heathrow Airport, higher throughput for passengers through their end-to-end journeys. And then we also worked with several universities in the reopening post-COVID. Again, really bringing all that data in, putting the insights in the hand of the decision makers to drive the decisions. That's kind of really it. We are currently working with Scottish Government across a number of their school estates, getting right into the depth of what happens with space utilization, how do you save energy, but also how do you create the right learning environment, and lots of very interesting insights coming there. That really is where I would sum up. It's been a whistle-stop tour to give you a flavor of really our approach to digital twins. We would love to hear from you if you got a project or some collaboration ideas. We would love to you to join in with us. I will finish with shout out to Bentley, one of our partners. We got Caroline and Mark on the call. If you do have any questions on SmartViz, do feel free to reach out to me or check out our website.